Hello everybody, Joel here from Golf Monthly. Hope you're well and welcome along to Bishopsgate Academy here in Orlando, Florida, where as you can see I've been testing the new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1x golf balls for 2019. Now every 2 years Titleist make changes and improvements to the design of these golf balls to give you better performance. A couple of years ago it was more focused around aerodynamics and consistency, but this time around the focus has really been on ball speed and distance without sacrificing short game feel or control. And the way they've done that is through some changes to the core and the casing layer and the cover, all combining to give you more ball speed. The core itself on both of these golf balls, the Pro V1 and the Pro V1x, has been reformulated. So Titleist often talk about the ball layers acting like a cake, kind of mixed ingredients in different amounts to optimize performance. And they've reformulated this core to be more speed focused, so that should give you more ball speed. Another way you're going to get that is through this thicker casing layer. So you've got the core and then you have the layer outside the core on the Pro V1, which is a 3-piece golf ball. The Pro V1x is a 4-piece golf ball. So that layer underneath the cover has been made thicker. It's been made 14% thicker in the Pro V1, 11% thicker in the Pro V1x, and that is another source of more ball speed and distance. And the final way you're going to get more distance is through the cover. So because that casing layer is thicker, the cover has been made 17% thinner, and that is also contributing to more distance. And Titleist say this is all coming without sacrificing noticeable short game feel or control. So obviously we were keen to see if the performance has improved from the old generation 2 years ago to this new generation here. We tested these golf balls in a variety of different scenarios. We first went to Foresight Sports HQ in Guildford and hit them on the GC Quad launch monitor. We tested the Pro V1 against the Pro V1x. We also tested the old Pro V1x up against the new Pro V1x, and we also tested the Pro V1 and Pro V1x up against the AVX golf ball, which is an alternative offering in that premium category, to see how the performance varies between the two and whether there's a closer gap between those models in that premium category. So lots of information to share with you. Bear with us. Hopefully you'll find it interesting. So let's dive into the results to see what the new Pro V1 and Pro V1x offer. Okay, so I have the iPad here with all the numbers on from our exhaustive testing session we did with the new Titleist Pro V1 golf balls. We hit driver, 7-iron, and we did a 50-yard pitch shot as well with new Pro V1x up against old Pro V1x first of all. So let's see how the performance compares between those two models, because that is the ball that I would play personally. So I was curious to see if the new generation would provide a performance benefit. And with driver, I did see an average, a 1 mile an hour increase in ball speed off the face. The other performance characteristics were pretty similar. It did launch slightly lower than the old Pro V1x and the spin was slightly lower, but there wasn't much in it. But I did get 4 extra yards of carry with the new Pro V1x. It was similar with 7-iron. I was getting 1 mile an hour more ball speed with the new Pro V1x with the 7-iron, and that was translating to 2 yards extra carry distance. And then on the 50-yard pitch shot, there really wasn't much in it. The new Pro V1x actually did spin fractionally more for me, launched a little bit lower on average, but I think strike and clubhead delivery would probably play a part in those numbers in terms of differentials rather than the ball itself. But just something worth noting there, that while Titleist say you might not experience an increase in short game performance, I actually did slightly. And then we come on to comparing the new Pro V1 and Pro V1x. Hopefully you're aware of the performance differences between the two, and that's why you might play one over the other. But for me, I actually got a little bit more ball speed with the Pro V1, but I was actually getting longer carries on average with the Pro V1x. That is because the X for me is still slightly lower spinning and it is higher flying, only by about a yard or so, but it was giving me better performance, the Pro V1x, compared to Pro V1, but there wasn't much in it really off the tee with driver. Coming into the irons, I was getting more spin with Pro V1x. That is a performance benefit that golfers should notice in terms of the differences between the two. When I had a fitting at Woburn Golf Club for the new golf balls, that spin difference was quite high. It was actually up at 800 RPM between Pro V1 and Pro V1x, but when I tested them at Foresight Sports HQ, it's actually closer to 100 RPM between the two. So not loads in it, but Pro V1x is higher spinning with your iron shots. But the carry distances were pretty similar, just slightly different ball flights. On the 50-yard shot, The differences between the two were very minimal indeed. The Pro V1x does spin a little bit more, which is what you would expect. The Titleist do say the Pro V1x spins more around the greens, and I was still experiencing that with the new versions. So that's given you a pretty good summary into how the Pro V1 and Pro V1x differ and the performance gains you're likely to experience with the new offerings over the previous generation. But that kind of asks the question, where does AVX fit in to the range? Well, hopefully you're aware that AVX is a softer feeling, lower spinning and lower flying alternative to Pro V1 and Pro V1x off the tee. It's ideal for golfers who hit the ball high, maybe they hit the ball with too much spin, and if you want more distance with your irons, and pretty much in most shots really, AVX generally is a little bit longer than Pro V1 and Pro V1x, but with the new Pro V1 and Pro V1x getting a little bit more ball speed and getting a bit more distance, the difference between the two has reduced slightly. There's less of a gap there between those three models. Don't forget, another differential with AVX was that it was available in yellow and Pro V1 and Pro V1x weren't, but now with the new generation, Pro V1 and Pro V1x is available in yellow from March 15th. So it's a big investment from Titleist they've made into the yellow version. They've spent up to $4 million on a couple of ball plants to implement this change, and hopefully you'll appreciate it. If you like to play a yellow golf ball, that option is there for you now with the new Pro V1 and Pro V1x. Pro V1 and Pro V1x do spin more than AVX around the greens. We've noticed that in our data previously, and we've confirmed it here with our new testing around the green actually here at Bishopsgate. It was noticeable that AVX was still running out a little bit more on those pitch and chip shots compared to Pro V1 and Pro V1x. So Pro V1 and Pro V1x are the best control offerings in terms of short game spin. So if you're looking for maximum short game spin, those two are, you know, the best in class when it comes to Titleist premium category. AVX does still offer an alternative in terms of ball flight and spin characteristics on long game shots, but that 1% reduction that Titleist say golfers might experience around the greens for us wasn't noticeable. Chipping, we did a lot of testing here. We had new Pro V1, new Pro V1x, old Pro V1x, AVX, testing them all around the green in different scenarios. We weren't really seeing a reduction in control around the greens with the new version. And that's encouraging given you're getting all these great long game benefits, more ball speed, more distance, and if you're not seeing a reduction in short game control, for me you're getting the best of both worlds. So I was actually surprised that the improvement Titleist have made to these golf balls. I wasn't expecting to see such an increase in ball speed from one generation to the other. To get 4 more yards from like for like with your driver is a pretty big gain for me, and that's why I think you're going to see a lot of golfers switching immediately into the new version. And when you consider that it comes in at the same price, £52 a dozen, and you've got the Tour Yellow option as well, I think it's undoubtedly one of the best offerings on the market in that premium golf ball category. Titleist continuing to push the boundaries of golf ball innovation, do a great job with this new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1x, and really does set the bar when it comes to all-round performance. One thing to consider with the new Pro V1 and Pro V1x is that with that cover being 17% thinner, you might expect the durability of the golf ball to reduce slightly, but I can't say that's something that I experienced during my testing here over the last few days. For me, the durability is as good as the previous generation, and that was elevated in the previous version, and for me that's been maintained into this version. So any concerns you might have over scuff showing a little bit more easily, for us they didn't materialise in our test. For me, I'm going to continue playing the Pro V1x. I like the firmer feel and a little bit more spin around the greens. Feels like I can be a bit more aggressive on my chip shots, and I like the ball to fly a little bit higher off the tee. So for me, it was confirmed in my fitting that Pro V1x was the best golf ball for me, and I'm going to continue playing that. But if you have a tendency towards a slightly softer feel, maybe you want slightly lower spin with your iron shots, while maintaining good ball speed with your driver, the Pro V1 is obviously an excellent option, and that's where a conversation with a fitter or your local pro is really important, because the differences are relatively subtle between the two models, but you know, it's obviously very important that you play the right ball for your game, and only by going through that process and trying both of them to see which one is best for you will you know that you're playing the right golf ball. Hopefully you've enjoyed that review. Hopefully it's given you an insight into what the new golf balls are offering. As always, comment on the video, tell us what you think. Are you interested in trying the new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1x? Maybe you play a rival golf ball and you want to switch into this one. Maybe you play AVX, maybe you play Tour S, and are you thinking of switching for the extra short game control? We'd love to hear from you. But for now, from Bishopsgate Academy here in Orlando, Florida, is goodbye.